Apparently, even a magician can fall under a spell, which is very embarrassing for the profession. I got lost in a pair of eyes. I lost track of time. I got lost in the sauce. But there is actually nervous system science underneath that. When something carries strong emotional significance, the brain increases its salience, essentially tagging it, pay attention, this is important. And the nervous system is beautifully efficient like that. What matters gets foregrounded, and attention narrows. We become more sensitive to cues connected to it. Patterns become easier to detect. Things that might normally remain background information suddenly just light up. It's one reason being under a spell can almost feel like the whole world is participating in it. The song hits different. The coincidences get louder. The body notices before the mind catches up. Not necessarily because any of it is false, but because attention itself has changed. And when emotional intensity rises, our field of perception can narrow even further. We lose some peripheral awareness. We zoom, and apparently in my case, enhance, zoom, enhance again. Until someone gently handed the magician back her wand, broadened the lens. Yeah. Because nervous system regulation isn't only about being calm. It's also about restoring range, the capacity to hold emotional significance and peripheral information at the same time, to stay connected to what matters without losing the rest of the frame. That's recalibration. And for that reminder, I am eternally grateful. Because widening the aperture brought me back to something bigger than the story I was trying to understand. Unconditional love doesn't possess. I mean, we know that. Does it need to control the meaning or secure an outcome? It sees another person fully and leaves them free enough to be exactly who they are. It says, I can love you without making you responsible for what my love becomes. And somehow, that freedom makes love even more sacred. It also reminded me why we need good people beside us. A community of wise thinkers willing to illuminate the places we can't see ourselves. People willing to move the lamp a few inches to say, look again. That's love too. And this particular shift brought me back to my roots. My prayer has always been, align my light with the light of the Creator. Align my light with the frequency of love and purpose. And I was off balance there. I know what being aligned with my purpose feels like. And I know I'd wandered slightly off center, just for a minute. Again, with those eyes. But when I returned to purpose, everything in me recalibrated. And that's where this stops being funny, for a lack of a better word. Because I thought stepping into my power would feel powerful. Instead, energetically, it felt like an open heart surgery. Power asked me to remove the armor I once called strength. The part that could endure, push through, survive, and underneath it, softness. Not weakness, not passivity, just soft. Soft enough to receive another perspective without abandoning my own. And soft enough to let uncertainty just remain uncertain. Soft enough to love without gripping. And soft enough to recognize that for me, this connection doesn't live in an illusion I need to prove. It lives somewhere much quieter. A calm, soft, tender inner knowing with no urgency, no need to predict anything. Just knowing what I feel and leaving enough room for another person to tell me what they feel themselves. Maybe that's what broadening the lens was really giving me. Not less trust in myself, more perspective around what I trust. My experience can be real without expectations. My vision can carry meaning without determining an outcome. And love can remain in love without knowing yet what's what. Maybe that's moving like shadows. A shadow doesn't control the light. It responds to it. It moves with it. The light shifts, the perspective changes, and we move with what becomes visible. So thank you for moving the light, for the fresh perspective, for reminding me of my roots. I lost my foresight for a hot minute. I was here, but it brought me back to my insight. I am recalibrated. The magician has found her wand. Okay, I go work on steadying my trembling hands now.